How high are you? I'm Kyle Cushman, and I'm here today at Greenflower Media, and we're going to talk about the fact that you control the outcome of the size of your plant. You control the outcome of the yield of your plant. Did you realize that? That if you wanted to grow a 1 ounce plant, you can. If you wanted to grow a 2 ounce plant, or a 3 ounce plant, or a 4 ounce plant. Okay, yeah, it takes a little practice, and you can't exactly decide I want to grow 3 tomatoes, or 4 tomatoes, or 6 tomatoes. But there is a general rule of thumb. There are a lot of factors, as with every aspect of growing. But the truth is that you can grow a 1 ounce plant in a 1 gallon container. You can grow a 4 ounce plant in a 1 gallon container. I'm not here to get into all the specifics. What I'm here to teach you is that you control the outcome of the plant. You want to decide from the beginning, A, what is your goal in yield? Do I want 1 ounce a plant, 2 ounces a plant, or a quarter pound per plant? And that has to be tempered with the size of your environment. Obviously, you're not going to grow 6 ounce plants in a closet. I might, however, grow 6 ounce plants in a large facility. Are you going to grow a 1 ounce plant in a 15 gallon tub? Obviously not. So a few things are obvious. The main thing is that it's under your control. So as you're vegging the plant and the plant gets larger, you can simply let the plant grow au naturel. That's not advised. What we want to do is we want to prune the plant and pinch it back a little bit. And that's going to help keep the internodal spacing a little shorter, and it's going to help proliferate the growth of other nodes and other branches so that you get more branching. So you want to not let your plant just grow tall. You want to top it a couple of times. The real trick of what you want to do is about predicting ahead of time what size you want the plant to finish at. What size is your environment? How much room do you have between the floor and how high you can raise your lights? Is it 6 feet? Is it 4 feet? Is it 8 feet? Generally, you want to make sure that when your plants are done, you still have 2 to 3 feet between the bulb and your plants, because that's the only way you're not going to burn off all that wonderful THC trichome goodness by having the sun within a foot of your plants when they're supposed to be ripening in the late fall shade, let's say. So how do we go about this? There's a general rule of thumb that once you flower your plant, it's going to roughly double in size. So if I flower my plant, meaning changing the photoperiod from a vegging photoperiod of either 24 hours, 20 hours, 18 hours, to a flowering photoperiod of 12 hours of darkness. What size is that plant? When should I do that? Do I want it 1 foot tall, 2 foot tall, 3 foot tall? Well, remember, it's going to double in size before it stops growing. Some plants triple in size before they stop growing. You can mitigate some of that by training and trellising and supercropping and all of these things, but you have to plan for a doubling of the height. So if you have 4 feet of space between the top of your bucket and your light, you have to flower at 1 foot. You have to turn your plants from vegging to flowering at 1 foot. Because in the time that plant bud sets, it's going to now be 2 foot. And that means that you have 2 feet left between the tip of your plant and your lights. Perfect. So now you're getting a feeling for what you have to do to match your plants with their environment. Now let's say you have an unlimited environment and you're not controlled by the size of your closet or the size of your bedroom. And you're not going to run out of vertical height. What size do you want to flower your plants at? Well, that's a little bit trickier. That's a little bit more dependent on strain, a little bit more dependent on root size, the size of the root structure. What size pot did you decide to ultimately grow in? So let's talk about that for a minute. If I want to grow a quarter pound plant, I want to average 4 ounces a plant. I'm probably going to choose a pot between 3 and 5 gallon size. If you go too big, you are not going to be able to water often enough to balance out the size of the root structure that you have. Now, of course, here's another variable. You could always veg longer to make a more prolific root structure and fill out that larger bucket and continue to prune, making a more bushy type plant and not letting it get taller, building more miles on the root structure. But we don't want, there's another cost to benefit lost when you veg too long. So let's just take an average vegging time, 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, we don't want to veg for 3 months. Can you? Yes. Do we want to? No. We want to have more than 2 harvests a year. So we're going to take a 4 to 6 week veg time. And let's say you wanted to grow, so I said you wanted to grow a 1/4 pound plant, I'd use a 3 to 5 gallon bucket. Let's say you want to grow a 6 to 8 ounce plant. Let's move it up to a 7 gallon pot, 7 to 10 gallon pot. And now you're going to veg it for a good 6 weeks, a good 6 week veg. So you can see the more in yield you want to end up with, obviously the longer you're going to have to veg. And that's both because you have to build up a larger root structure in the phyllosphere, fancy name for the root structure below the surface, to service the larger biomass network above the surface. Everything in growing is about balance. Too many plants in a room can lower your yield. Too many lights in a room can lower your yield. Too big of plants can lower your yield. Too small plants can lower your yield. Experience, confidence, observation will help you key in on all of these important aspects. And spending time with your plants, that's the best. Kyle Kushman, Green Flower Media, tuning out. Peace and love.